Okay, so today I wanted to talk about this new movie that's coming out. And it's not like a movie that's going to be hitting every single theater across the nation. It's actually a small film that will be in select theaters. But it's a new horse movie, which whenever I see new horse movies coming out, I'm always a little bit skeptical because for the most part, most horse movies kind of follow the same pattern that like movies like Flicka do, where it's very over dramatic and the behavior of the horses aren't very correct. And it's very romanticized about what horses actually are about. And then you have movies like Secretariat, which are very much realistic in the way that horses behave, because it isn't about the relationship between a human and a horse. It's about the success of this racehorse. Seabiscuit kind of did the same thing, but this movie is a little bit different than any other horse movie that I've ever seen before or that I know of. And this movie is called Unbridled, and it's scheduled to come out sometime this year, I think in September. I will see if I can find the actual projected release date, and put that up like somewhere around here for you guys because I couldn't find it. I am very pleased with what I'm seeing so far in just the little teaser trailer and the promotional video. Now, the promotional video talks about the inspiration for this movie, and it's based on a true story. And it follows the Corral Academy, which I think they said was in Connecticut. I could be wrong. Again, I will correct myself if I'm wrong in editing. But it's a riding academy or ranch or whatever you want to call it that is a nonprofit organization that helps at-risk girls. So young girls who have been abused in their families, who have been neglected, who have had substance abuses, who are from alcoholic families. Some of these kids are even from like trafficking situations. There are some girls who have experienced sexual violences or physical assaults on them. So they're these girls that don't really know how to trust people, who have had a really shitty life, and they go to this academy and they get to work with a bunch of horses who have a similar background. They've been abused, they've been starved, neglected, what have you, the whole gambit of horse abuse, basically. And they learn to trust with each other, and they train the horses and learn to ride and things like that, which I think is a really cool program. And I wish that there were more programs that were like this program that actually helped children. We have one in my city, but it's not the best. It is a nonprofit organization as well that works with underprivileged youth or whatever you want to call it. But it's kind of a weird. The person who runs it isn't the greatest. This one, actually, I did a little bit of research on Corral Academy itself, and it is super legit, very, very beneficial for the girls, and very helpful to their development and getting them to where they can function in society and not feel like they're always going to be alone and no one is ever going to help them. No one's ever going to be trusting enough to where they would want to open up to that person. So it's very helpful for those girls. Now, the promotional trailer or video is just about the academy itself. It doesn't talk a whole lot about the movie. Then they released a teaser trailer. And this teaser trailer, wow, I can't talk, is so good. I'm so tired of seeing trailers and knowing exactly what's going to happen in the movie. I know who's going to be having the most action scenes, who they're fighting, basically you've shown me the entire movie like 9 times over, because these trailers are like 5 minutes long, and it's like, holy shit, you basically showed me the best parts of the movie, and now when I go and see the movie, I'm bored because you showed me all the fun shit, so I know what all the fun stuff is, and now all I'm seeing is the boring talking bits that I don't care about. Looking at you. Like in Civil War, you were shit. Anyhow, so this trailer actually stays very cryptic. It doesn't give you a whole lot of information about what's going to happen in the story, but just enough to where you have a vague idea of what this movie is going to be about. So you're not going into it blind, not knowing, well, it's just a movie about a girl and a horse, you know. That's as vague as you can get it. And this movie does a really good job of not showing a whole lot of dialogue, so you don't really know how the characters interact a whole lot. It's a lot of just visuals, because the main character, this redheaded girl who kind of reminds me of the girl from Brave in just like her hair, but she's a very, very pretty young lady. She is talking over the beginning part of the trailer, and she's just talking about how, like, it almost sounds like a essay that you were writing, where she's talking about how she views her life in a very it's in a cryptic way. She talks about how protection is a lie, or she says that protection is a lie, love is a lie, boys are lies, and things like, it's not like she's outwardly talking about her life, she's just kind of talking about how she perceives things in a very minuscule way, which I thought was a really clever way of doing it, to where your trailer isn't just, you know, a little bit of music and a bunch of clips that we have no connection. Like, every time that she said something is a lie, it showed a small little snippet of a scene where you kind of see her reacting to her surroundings, or someone reacting to their surroundings. So it opens up with her getting ready for what I assume is her getting ready for school. And I'm going to put a lot of what I'm assuming, this is what I got from the trailer, because it is a very cryptic trailer. It's not like, oh, this happened, this happened, this happened, and I know definitively that this is what it meant. This is an up-to-interpretation type trailer. So this is my interpretation of what the trailer was telling me. So it starts with her getting ready for school, and she grabs an apple, and then you hear the disembodied voice of a man as he's coming down the stairs, and he is an older man, and then there's an older woman. So I'm assuming one of two things. Either that is her adopted parents, or that is her grandparents, because they look too old to be her actual, like, real parents. So I'm thinking she's either adopted, or she now lives with her grandparents because something happened to her actual parents. That is my interpretation of what her family relationship is at this point. And as soon as he says something to her as he's walking down the stairs, she drops her apple. So clearly she does not have a good relationship with this man. Her relationship with the woman figure is better. Like, she shows that she has a little bit of affection, or a little bit of a connection with her, but it's not like she can go to that person can completely protect her. So clearly the father figure is where we're going to get most of our conflict from. So then it cuts to a scene where the mother figure opens up the fridge, and she sees a bottle of vodka in the fridge. And so that, to me, tells me that the father figure is probably going to be an alcoholic, or have some kind of crutch with alcohol, to where that makes him maybe aggressive, or that instigates whatever kind of abuses that this girl goes through. And the wife or mother figure is also possibly subjected to it, because she looked kind of upset about the fact that there was vodka in the fridge. Then it cuts to a scene where the main actress is at school, and she draws what looks like an X on her chest towards a boy who appears to be talking to an administrator or a teacher of some sort. So I'm thinking that that's probably a guy who maybe she was dating, or a friend of hers, and he did something where he didn't help her in a situation, he got her in trouble, maybe he's being an ass in her eyes, I don't know. But she's clearly upset with him, and ends up actually slamming a door in his face in, like, the next little clip. So then there's this black guy who gets introduced, and I honestly am seeing him as a social worker figure. He comes off to me as someone who is her social worker. Um, and just by like his mannerisms in the clips that you see him in, he's walking up to the door. Then there's a clip where he is very angry and he's banging his hands on his steering wheel, kind of like when you get frustrated about something, you bang your hands on the steering wheel. And then there's a clip where he's, you know, at the gym doing the weight lift thing where you're laying on a bench. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't go to the gym. But so he just, from what I'm seeing, I'm assuming he's the social worker. There's also another woman who I'm assuming is supposed to be the main lady who runs the Corral Academy. She's with her pretty much in every single clip with her and the horses. So I'm assuming that that's what those two characters, their inspiration is for. There's a clip where she pops up with a Palomino horse who's very, very pretty. This horse has been severely abused and is very fearful of humans, and she says that she wants that to be her horse. And there's a couple of clips where she's interacting with the horse, where she's riding bareback and the horse, with the horse, and then there's a clip where the horse is running by himself. There's a clip where he's running through the woods by himself. Like, it shows a couple of clips of him. And then there's a clip where the girl is laying in her bed. It cuts to a clip of her in the bed. And she looks absolutely terrified. Like, you know when you see a kid who thinks that, like, the boogeyman is coming out of the closet and they're just sitting there and they're, like, clutching their blanket in fear? So that's the first clip. And then there's another clip where you see the father's hand grabbing at her blanket. So now that to me tells me that she is in a sexually abusive house with an alcoholic father figure. So that to me is telling me what her relationship with him is. That gives me a better idea of why she is afraid of him. I understand that fear very well. So towards the end of the trailer, there is a clip of her holding a gun to the father figure. So that is probably going to be one of our main ending conflicts that brings us to our conclusion. It could possibly get her in quite a bit of trouble because clearly she is not an adult. She shouldn't have a gun. And pulling a gun on someone who is not actually attacking you is technically a like an assault offense, or I can't remember the exact phrasing, but it's like you're escalating the situation past what it needed to be. So that could be part of where we get some of the conflict. Something's going to happen with that. Other than that, I have no idea what this freaking movie is going to be about. I've got a very vague idea of what the conflict's going to be, how the story is set up, who the people are in the story, and that's about it. And I am super excited for it. I think this is going to be a really good movie. It's going to have a little bit of a romanticized feel to it, more than likely. But for the most part, it's going to be a very good sort of drama movie. Now, I was seeing quite a bit of backlash on, they have a Facebook page that people have been commenting saying, you know, why can't we get a movie with a well-adjusted girl? Why does it always have to be someone who's in a bad, like, family life, someone who's abused, someone who doesn't like their life, whatever. Like, why do we have to have these conflicts? And that's because horses are actually a really good way of being therapeutic. Also, this is a movie based on real life, so screw you. It's based on a true story. That's like saying, why do we have to keep having all of these war movies where a bunch of people die? Well, because it's based on real life, so shush. Real life isn't fun. Real life isn't happy rainbow time. Real life sucks. So, I mean, get over it. And also, we do have movies where we have well-adjusted people interacting with horses. We've got Secretariat. We've got... Flicka's pretty, you know, she's pretty well-adjusted. I mean, her dad's a little overprotective, but other than that, I mean, she's got a good family. We've got Red Fury. Red Fury's not a good example for very much. That's a good movie, but it's not a good example when it comes to, like, happy time movies. War Horse is kind of, like, the guy is well-adjusted. His dad's kind of a dick, but, I mean, he's pretty much happy. And him and his horse have a good relationship. Like, everyone that interacts with Joey has a pretty, stable life, except we're in war, so war sucks. I mean, we've got movies where it's not just like, oh, we've got a kid who is a foster kid and their life sucks, and then they find horses and everything's happy. Like, not every horse movie is like that. Pretty much every racing movie isn't like that. I mean, if you want to look at Racing Stripes, it's not really a horse movie because it's about a zebra, but there's horses in it. You've got a well-adjusted girl and a fucking zebra that are happy as shit and they're racing. It's fun. Like, if you want a fun horsey movie, go watch Racing Stripes or go watch Secretariat. It's not really fun, but, I mean, it's not depressing for the most part. So, I don't particularly care for the type of criticism that the movie is getting already, just because it's kind of a silly thing to be upset about. Like, why can't we have well-adjusted girls playing with horses? Because that doesn't make for a fun movie. That's like saying, why do we have to have movies that have conflict in them? Why can't it just be people having fun and hanging out? That's when you get movies like Valentine's Day where it's shit because it's just people doing day-to-day life and there's not a whole lot of conflict. It's just people hanging out. That's why those movies aren't fun. That's why they don't do very well, because no one wants to see just people hanging out in their regular day life. There has to be a start point where the characters start, then shit happens, we get a conflict, and then we get a conclusion, and hopefully the character has grown and developed. So that's how movies and stories work. There has to be a beginning, some kind of conflict, and then a conclusion where the character becomes better. I'm sorry that, most people riding their horses, for the most part, isn't as conflict-induced as it should be. Like, if we made a movie just following a barrel racer around, watching her barrel race, and, oh, there's this one chick that she doesn't like, but then they just bicker the entire movie, and that's it. That's boring. Like, you might like sitting there gossiping at the show grounds, but not everyone does, and it doesn't make for very good conflict anyway. Kitten's joining us for the ending of the video because he decided to play with my camera. So this is Hawkeye, by the way, if anyone doesn't know him. Say hi. We found him in the bushes at Macy's, so he's my little bush baby. And if you can hear him purring, then my camera's audio is doing better. Anyhow, guys, so let me know if you are excited for this movie coming out. I will link their Facebook page, their regular website, as well as the 2 videos that I watched like a million times over before making this video, just so that I didn't miss anything. So that you have all the source material, you can check it out for yourself. Let me know, are you excited for this movie or not? I personally am. I think that it sounds really cool and it's a nice premise. And I think we're going to end it there, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.